have you around. Thank you so much. President, are we ready?
Yes, it's dot seven. We can start, and we are live on YouTube.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today I am your acting sergeant at arms. For all of those, all of you who don't know who a sergeant at arms is, please raise your hand.
Yes.
Not in Toastmasters pretext or context, but otherwise, who is sergeant at arms? Okay, Divya, that's fair enough. Anyone who wants to answer Divya's query, who is sergeant at arms? Okay, can we have people who are not talking muted? Sergeant at arms is that cadre. Both you have it in government as well as you have them in the army. In both the forte fraternities, it's a little different. In the government, he is a person who actually enforces the laws. He brings executes the laws. But when it comes to the army part, he is the person who actually sees that his army is always ready for the action, and he also is in charge and sees that the ammunition, the entire the weapon, the whatever the required thing is for a battle, for a war, is set in place. So both the ways, the sergeant at arms is the fit title for a person who is calling to order a Toastmasters meeting wherein people from different forte, different mentalities come together to rendezvous for 2 hours every fortnight. So today I am the acting sergeant at arms. Our club sergeant at arms, Toastmaster Natasha, could not make it because her child is not keeping well today. So it's an honor for me to be to calling to order meeting number 45. So as a sergeant at arms, okay, we are club number 7702487 and we belong to area 64, division P, district 105, and this is our 45th meeting which will be opened formally by the club president. Now you have to excuse me, I think I have a problem. Can somebody just start a share so that this share gets stopped? Amita or any of the hosts, you'll just start a share and the share gets stopped. Okay, I shall move on here. Now, every sergeant at arms reads the club mission for the Toastmasters. And Toastmasters club mission is, what I would suggest is each of you to hold your hands on your chest while I'm reading it and repeat it. Okay. Can you all see me and the presentation?
Yes, we can see you, not the presentation.
Okay, that's not a problem. So the club mission, my dear friends, just hold your hand on your chest and I will be reading it out for you. The mission, you have to repeat it in your mind. The mission of a Toastmasters club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to also read you the, yes, thank you so much, the Toastmasters promise. Now Toastmasters promise is 10 good points, 10 or 11 good points, which each of us have to adhere to, each of us have to know. It is to attend the club meetings regularly, to prepare all your projects to the best of your ability, basing them on the Toastmasters curriculum, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluation, to help the club maintain positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve the club as an officer, and when called upon to do so, to treat fellow club members and guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition program to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all the Toastmaster activities. Now, that is going to be sent to you all. This is the ground rules of the club, which every Toastmaster club adheres to, follows. It is very simple. It's changed a little in the virtual background. I mean, because of the virtual meetings, you need to silence your cell phones or any other noise making device. Keep yourself consciously in mute and open your mic only when asked to do so. Three taboo topics in this part of the world are sex, religion, and politics, on which you will avoid talking totally, be it in a project speech or any role that you're going to conduct yourself in. And the last but the most important thing, which is the breakfast for every role player, is the feedback. So you need to applaud and give your feedback to every role player who is coming on board to execute their particular roles. With that, I come to the end of the Sergeant at Arms role and I hand over the stage to our club president, Toastmaster Amita, who is all set to grace this meeting with her leading points. Toastmaster Amita, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you, DTO Manita, for such a detailed opening of the meeting, being the sir. Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and future Toastmasters. Let's welcome this evening with a big round of applause as we have reached the 45th meeting. On the onset, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Toastmaster Rajat Ray, who is going to deliver an education session today. I welcome Toastmaster Syam Prasad, who is going to be the general evaluator this evening. I am so excited today. Do you all know why? Because this evening is dedicated to the new members of the Showstoppers Toastmasters. A warm, hearty welcome to the newbies. They are going to be formally inducted today. Let me tell you all, they have been so enthusiastic that they are all set to essay their maiden roles today itself. I am sure with the young blood and the veterans amongst us, the Showstoppers will definitely reach great heights, new heights. That calls for a drum roll once again. As I recollect how I embarked on the journey in Toastmasters, I realized it's already been 1.5 years, that's 20 months, and the 45th meeting has arrived. How time has just flown by in the wink of an eye. I still remember the first meeting I attended. I was so nervous and had nothing more to say other than my own name and how many children I have. That was all in my life. Dear fellow Toastmasters, you are in the right place at the Showstoppers Toastmasters. Trust me when I say that. We are here to go a long way, learning and unlearning many things. Let me give you an insight as to what is in store for you with us here. First of all, very soon, the mentors will be assigned for the newbies, and dear Toastmasters, feel privileged to hit upon the mentor whenever you want any kind of guidance regarding the Toastmaster journey. The club culture and the club rules have already been mentioned to you. However, it will be sent by email too very soon. You will be added to the group emails. Check your emails regularly for any updates and news. We will be using WhatsApp for communicating informally and formally. My advice would be set your goals. Go step by step and brainstorm with your mentors. It will be such a good deal. Your enthusiasm and our mentoring will surely make noticeable positive transformations in no time within you. I would also like to mention that members who are interested to give their names for the debate contest going to be held on October 29th can step forward and let us know. What I can promise you is you will be trained and groomed and flooded with mock sessions. It's just that you have to be ready to take in all this. Let's all together aim high and keep sky as the limit. Now, here's a question I throw to each one of you, and I expect an answer with your mics on full volume. Am I correct when I say we are here to support each other and fly high, to bag in all the accolades served on a plate by the District 105 and the TMI? Are we together?
Yes.
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 So with that high note, I declare the meeting number 45 open. I call upon the secretary of our club, who is also a newbie, but she's handling it all so well, just 1 month old, Toastmaster Sri Devi, to read out the minutes of the meeting number 44. Go ahead, Sri Devi.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and future Toastmasters. I'm here to read out the minutes of meeting number 44. The meeting number 44, theme, Whom Do You Cartoonize?, held on Monday, 23rd of August, 2021. The meeting started on time at 4 p.m. Our very energetic Sergeant-at-Arms, Toastmaster Nitasha, commenced the meeting reminding everyone of the club mission and the online meeting etiquettes. She handed over the virtual stage to the President, Toastmaster Amita. The presidential address began with a very inspiring story of Walt Disney. She declared the meeting open. This was followed by the minutes of meeting by Secretary Toastmaster Sri Devi. Then the President, Toastmaster Amita, introduced the guests to the attendees. The baton was then handed over to the TMOD, Toastmaster Anita. She started off with the theme, Whom Do You Cartoonize? She took us through the origin of cartoons, cartoon culture, and the other side of cartoons. Then came the word of the day by Toastmaster Neha. The word was anomaly, which means something that deviates from what is standard or normal. Our prepared speeches for the evening were by the following speakers. Toastmaster Manpreet attempted her L1P2 speech titled Bullying. Toastmaster Ronak attempted his L2P1 speech titled Not Prepared. And Toastmaster Kamini attempted her L3P2 speech titled He Who Speaks Can Sell. Then came the timer's report by Toastmaster Nitya, which was followed by voting. The virtual stage was then handed over to Toastmaster Ravindra for an introduction to cartoon creation. This was followed by table topic session by Toastmaster Smita. The session came to an end with the timer's report and voting. The general evaluator, Toastmaster Raji, then started the evaluation segment. Our evaluators, Toastmaster Nitasha, Toastmaster Chaitanya, and Toastmaster Amita, evaluated the speeches of their respective speakers. Following this was the R-counter report by Toastmaster Kokila and the grammarian report by Toastmaster Sridevi. Then the general evaluator, Toastmaster Raji, analyzed the entire session. The meeting came to an end with TMOD closing by Toastmaster Anita and the presidential closing address by Toastmaster Amita, who also announced the winners of the day. The meeting ended on time at sharp 6 p.m. Have a wonderful evening, dear showstoppers and guests. Over to you, Club President.
Wonderful. I would like to hand over the stage to the TMOD of the day, Toastmaster Seema. Welcome, Toastmaster Seema.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amita. At times, we tell ourselves or we hear others telling, I have the right to be upset, angry, or sad just because of the way someone else has treated us. Well, I am not here to deny these emotions, but there is one thing that we all have to remember. Every time we are holding on to these negative emotions, we must remember that we are moving away from our inner peace and happiness. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, new members, and our beloved guests. This evening, I'm about to speak to you about a very simple, a unique, but a powerful healing technique which I discovered a few years back. I remember I used to have major issues with my joints and my knees from a very young age. Addressing this issue was not my priority then. I kept prolonging the treatment, and few years back, I was asked to undergo a knee surgery for my grade 3 tear and also take steroids for my arthritic pain. Well, I panicked. I did not want to go under the knife. And I am someone who always believed in the mind and body connection. That's when I came to know about this powerful Hawaiian practice of reconciliation and forgiveness, which is called the Ho'oponopono. It's a little difficult to pronounce. It's like a tongue twister. It is Ho'oponopono. It means to make things right and to come into balance. It is said that a Hawaiian psychiatrist, Dr. Ilaliha Hewlin, again, his name is little difficult to pronounce, so I would say Hewlin, he treated an entire ward of mentally ill criminals even without seeing them. Can you believe? Not seeing the patients, but he treated the entire ward. And within 6 months, that mental asylum had to be shut down because there were no patients. They were all treated. Dr. Hewlin believed that we are all 100% responsible for each and every incident in our life. He took responsibility of attracting these mentally ill criminals in his life. So all what he did was, he took the files of these criminals and kept repeating 4 simple phrases or mantras that I call, that is, I love you, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Now, the order in which we say these phrases doesn't matter, but it is the intention that matters. Every act of forgiveness, when we do, we heal some part of our body. And I have read that the more we hold on to anger and resentment in our life, we do face issues in our joints and our heels. And that is exactly what I went through. Along with few medications like taking supplements and some exercises, but along with that, I used this simple technique of Ho'oponopono to heal my knee concerns. Trust me, my friends, it's more than a year. I do not have any issues. My doctor had advised me not to run, not to jog, not to put any kind of, not to involve in any type of practices which would actually aggravate the issue. Now, the whole thing that I did was, I said sorry, because I never knew what exactly in me, in my life, attracted this incident. So I said, I'm sorry, and I asked for forgiveness from the divine or the power that we believe in. And I sent unconditional love to my knee. And I again thanked the divine for healing me, allowing the healing process to speeden up. If we trust this process and do this, this powerful technique does heal many aspects of our life. There has been case studies wherein people have benefited with this technique for finances, relationships, money blocks, and many other cases. Now, about relationships, I must say I often use it I use it very, very often. There are times when we have issues with our friends, our families, and our egoic mind doesn't want to go and say sorry. We are a little reluctant to say. So what I do is I imagine the person, or I imagine the incident that has happened, and I ask for forgiveness. I say, I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And I keep repeating the mantra until I am at peace with that situation. And magic happens, you would see the person come back and talk to you. You don't even have to apologize. With this, since I have given you a small idea about the magical mantra, let's move on with the meeting, and let me invite Toastmaster Sheetal to give the word of the day. Toastmaster Sheetal, I invite you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So today's word of the day is alleviate.
Shita, we're not able to see your video.
Can you see me? Okay. So I repeat, today's word of the day is alleviate.
Would you want us to share the PowerPoint presentation for you?
Yes, Anita, I think that would help because I'm still struggling to get used to the Zoom.
Just give us a second. Sridevi or Amita, would you want to do that?
Okay, I'll share my screen in just a minute.
Sheetal, if you could just read it out.
Hello, Toastmaster Sheetal.
Hello.
Yeah, you can read out.
Yeah. Yes. So alleviate is to make something such as a pain or suffering more bearable. A drug that alleviates the symptoms using relaxation techniques to alleviate stress. To partially remove or correct something which is undesirable, government programs to alleviate poverty.
Yes, you could go
So
ahead.
the
Synonyms and then
synonyms for alleviate is soothe, ease, relieve, mitigate, help, mollify, palliate. And on the other hand, antonyms would be aggravate, enhance, heighten, increase, intensify, magnify, or make worse. Some examples to use alleviate in this sentence would be take an aspirin to alleviate your headache. If you want to alleviate the situation, start by
apologizing.
apologizing for your mistake. Drink plenty of water to alleviate dehydration. We hope that money can help people alleviate some of the hardships that they continue to experience today.
So you can call on stage anybody to try the word, to try using the word in a sentence.
So can I request Toastmaster
Pick up anyone.
Toastmaster David Isaac?
Go on, David.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster Sheetal. So for alleviate, comedy movies alleviate stress in real life. or sports alleviate stress. Sports is a good stress buster.
Great. Anybody else who would like to volunteer?
David has forgotten to mention
I'll
Toastmasters meeting
I'll give you a try.
as a remedy to alleviate stress as well.
Yes.
Yes, please, yes. Yes, whoever wants to give it a try.
Yes, anybody
Okay.
can volunteer.
Okay, I'll give you a try. Traveling with friends will alleviate whatever pressure or whatever stress you are undergoing.
Great. Anybody else?
Can I go for it? This is Anil.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, hi. Practicing Ho'oponopono is one of the best remedies and to elevate, Alleviate negative vibrations.
Great. So the word of the day and its meaning will be put in the chat box. And Toastmaster Sheetal, you can request everyone and encourage everyone to try to use the word as much as they can in the meeting today. Let me mention Toastmaster Sheetal is a newbie and she has accepted to be the word master of the day, being a newbie. So let us all applaud for this. Thank you, Toastmaster Sheetal. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amita. Yes, let's all of us use the word of the day as much as possible. And yes, and I have to say that Ho'oponopono is an excellent technique to elevate major healings in this world and bring inner peace as well. With this, I call upon our DTM, Anita Naidu, our VP, to do the induction, to do the new member induction. Over to you, DTM Anita.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Seema. Just a second. I'll put myself. Yeah. Can I have the Zoom master, as I read out the names of the new members, if the Zoom master can just give the spotlight to the new members, I would be grateful.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Just a second here. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, once again. As the VP membership of the Showstoppers Club, I take this opportunity to induct our new members, our new stars of the club, who will be taking this club forward with all their accolades and different types of achievements that they confront in this Toastmasters journey. Fellow Toastmasters, I am pleased to have the occasion today to induct our 8 new members, which is including me as well, to the Showstoppers Toastmasters Club. I'm just returning to the club again. Individuals come to Toastmasters to improve their communication and leadership skills, as we mentioned before. We have the opportunity to help them achieve their goals. I ask our new members to be spotlighted, please, by the Zoom Master, Toastmaster Sridevi. I will be reading out the names: Toastmaster Sheetal, Toastmaster Kimji is not here, Toastmaster Mihir, Toastmaster Divya, Toastmaster Dipansh, David, Toastmaster Sridevi herself, and of course me. Now we've already assigned the mentors, me and after discussing with the club president and the mentors, Toastmaster Sheetal will be mentored by Toastmaster Amita. The emails will reach you, as the club president has already said. Toastmaster Kimji doesn't need a mentor. He's already got a mentor. He sees Toastmaster Rajat ji as one of his very, very able mentors. So, and we are glad that he is here, but unfortunately Kimji is not here. Toastmaster Mihir will be mentored by Toastmaster Kimji, Toastmaster Divya by yours truly, DTM Anita, Toastmaster Dipansh by again yours truly, Toastmaster David by Toastmaster Amita. Toastmaster Sridevi is already being mentored by me, and I think she's also using the help of our immediate past president, Toastmaster Tina Satish. So with that, this is the mentor-mentee list that collective obligation in Toastmasters Club is to grow and improve ourselves, and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members. we ask you, our new members, to dedicate yourself to personal growth, to share this great gift with your fellow members, and to help keep this Toastmasters Club, the Showstoppers Toastmasters, strong and dynamic. Please face your fellow members and affirm your membership pledge. So, since we are in a virtual this thing stage today, there's nothing like face. We are all face to face over here. I'll be reading out the new members pledge, and when I mention your name, I just want you all to say yes, I will, as affirmation to the pledge. I, in the presence of my fellow members of the Showstoppers Club, make this firm obligation to attend meetings regularly and prepare fully for each assignment, to apply myself to the program outlined in the Toastmasters manuals, to participate actively in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner, to build open, friendly relationship with my fellow members, and to bring other new members into the club so that they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters. Toastmaster Sheetal, would you abide by this pledge?
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Mihir, will you abide by this pledge?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Toastmaster Divya, will you abide by this pledge?
I definitely will.
Toastmaster Dipansh, will you abide by this will?
Yes,
By
I
this
will.
pledge?
Yes, I will.
Great. Thank you so much. Toastmaster David, will you abide by this pledge?
Yes, I will.
Toastmaster Sridevi, will you abide by this pledge?
Yes, I will.
And I definitely will. Thank you so much. Now it's time for us to ask the members, the current members of the Showstoppers, to read out their pledge, to also support us. We, the members of Showstoppers Toastmasters Club, pledge to support you in your quest for self development, to provide you with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, to give you opportunities to help others, and to make your Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Toastmasters, Toastmaster Amita, will you abide by this pledge?
Yes, always.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Tina, will you abide by this pledge?
Yes, I will.
Toastmaster Seema?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Okay, we don't have Toastmaster Natasha and here, so that's about it. Thank you so much, each and everyone, and let's take this Toastmasters journey further here on. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Seema.
Thank you so much, DTM Anita. Moving on, let's have the speeches for the day. We have Toastmaster Divya Shalini, who is attempting her icebreaker speech. I once again request DTM Anita to read the evaluation criteria for us and give us the timings, give the timer the timing criteria as well. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm evaluating our maiden speaker today, Toastmaster Divya Shalini, and she is attempting her icebreaker speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. The time limit is 4 to 6 minutes. Toastmaster Divya, the title is, she's mentioned it in the chat as well, I think. Yeah. 1 second, here is
Wings Within.
Wings Within. Yeah. So over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Seema.
Thank you, DTM Anita. Toastmaster Divya Shalini, Wings Within. Wings Within, Toastmaster Divya Shalini. Over to you. All the very best to you, Toastmaster Divya.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. They say that if there's an option given to speak in public or to die, people choose dying. So today I'm going to speak in front of all of you guys. So this is my first speech ever. I'm a part of this Toastmaster. I recently, and I mean, I got communication to be a part of this group. I'm so delighted to be a part of this group. And I'm going to stick on to things what I've been told to. I have been asked a few questions, which is going to talk about myself and my introduction. So I'm going to do that diligently as much as I can within the time limit without boring anybody, hopefully. So the first says, how did I come to the world? So I was born on 5th of November. It was the day of Diwali in India, and I was born to a woman who was only 17 years old and a man who's 20 years. Both are my father and mother. Where I was raised, my childhood was I was born and raised up in Bangalore, and I'm married with a child. I'm still settled in Bangalore, and I hopefully look forward to settle in Bangalore itself. Okay. And where are my parents from? So my mom hails from a small town. I wouldn't say a town, probably a village, a very backward village from Tamil Nadu. So mom is a Tamilian basically. My dad is a Telugu, and he comes from smallest place from Nellore. And they both chose to come here there because if you look at my ancestry as well, my forefathers too were there here in Bangalore. So we have very little knowledge about the native or so-called my parents. Natives or relatives or such. Okay, so yes, I do have siblings. My parents have four children. I'm the eldest, and I have three lovely younger sisters to me. So we don't have brothers, and that tells everybody saying that why do we have four sisters now? So how were my parents? My parents were. I would, yeah, they're pretty strict. So, in order to say, I hail from a family where women are only meant to cook, clean, cover themselves, and make children and raise good children. So this is what the entire concept of my family, which strongly men believe in. So we were not allowed to go outside after 6 o'clock. I was not allowed to talk to boys, and you cannot have a male friend, and you're not supposed to wear this, you're not supposed to wear that, you're not supposed to stand there. I'm not sure you guys all live abroad if you witness such sort of families or seen in movies, and that's the family I hail from. So it was very hard for me to break that and to ensure that I break all of it, because I was set as an example for my sister. Because my mom was always used to tell me, so you are the eldest, whatever you do, your younger sisters would follow. Because me being the elder, I'm not sure if all of you have this. You have that kind of a pressure from your parents to be the best and do the best. You can't be yourself, you can't be vulnerable, you can't talk this, you can't talk that. And I from a very strong dominant patriarch society. So even when relatives come, I was not allowed to sit with them. You're always supposed to stand. While that was a symbol of respect, it went up to a stage that I was being really, really controlled, and I come from that kind of a family. So it was hard for me to break that and ensure that I was the first woman to go outside and work in the night shift, and I was the first woman in my family to travel abroad. And I'm pretty much happy that I was able to, with this level of mindset, what my father and his brothers carried, I was still was able to go for a Europe trip all by myself and do that. So I'm very happy with what I did, and I think it was all in the mindset. And today my dad acknowledges that, and he's changing, and is overall changed person. Situation made him change, circumstances made him change. I'm pretty happy with the change that what he has. So who influenced me a lot was the next question. So I think my mother influenced me a lot, so in a positive way. So because I used to see my mother always in the kitchen, and always in, doing something for us, raising up kids and telling what to do, always thinking what to cook next and what to do next. She never had a life of her own. And I mean, I used to ask her, my mother, saying that, Ma, what was that you want to do? I mean, the best thing that she could ask for was what, like, I would like to probably, get this undisturbed sleep. And that is all women can have as a goal, get undisturbed sleep, so that she doesn't have to serve a man in the house or doesn't have to save people around. So I decided I'm not going to be that one. And my mother clearly encouraged me not to be that person, where you're being always controlled, you're always being told what to do, and you can't take your own decision. So it was all the credit all goes to my lovely mother. And she recently passed away in my arms, so just before 5 months due to COVID. So which was a very sad thing for me to do, but again, it was while I was grieving, I also ensured that how exactly my mother wants me to be, and I tried to overcome that and be myself. And also another person which influenced me a lot is I pretty much read a lot of books, and that talks about my hobby as well. I can read books for hours together without getting disturbed with a mug of coffee and some water. So that's my lovely, that's the lovely thing that I do. And I don't have any other hobbies apart from that. I read. So, and I like this person, called Napoleon Hill. I like his book. So Think and Grow Rich was one of the first books that I read, and which helped me to read more and more and more. So I read mostly this personal development sort of book, and I read books like, my one of my role model would be Andrew Carnegie. So who's been on the steel tycoon in the United States and made millions of money, and also did enough charitable work. So the person who wrote it, Napoleon Hill as well, I follow them. So I follow Nightingale very much. So, and all these things kind of hobbies, because I pretty much read a lot. This led me to be myself, so I could be financially independent. So I read mostly books related to stock market. So I do invest in long-term stock markets. That's what I do. So yeah, so the hobbies that I do is I do that. I pretty much do gardening. So I don't have much of a place to garden in Bangalore, but however, I do the terrace gardening stuff and try to grow things, and I try to be with the nature. So I try not to use plastic. I don't know if that's considered to be hobby. Yes, I do that. And also, what are my goals and aspiration? My goals would be, I could be financially free. That means next day morning I wake up, I know that everything is being sorted, my life is being taken care, and everything is being done. So I would go ahead and follow my dreams. So what is my dream is how women can be financially free. So I think that's one thing it's really missing. So I often, because I come from a very humble background, and I do see and I do talk to many people, women especially, and I mean, they are really in a situation where they do not like that life what they have, and they're just not able to do anything because they're dependent on their husbands, or they're dependent on their son, or anything like that. They don't have a dream. All their dreams would be their kid's dream, or their husband's dream, or their father's dream, or someone else's dream is what they consider themselves their dream. So I don't want to be that. So I want every woman to come out of the domestic violence, because many people, their husbands hit them. I'm sure that's not common there. It's very common here. They hit them, they ill-treat them. They still go back and wipe the tears, cook for them, clean for them, and still be nice to them, just because they're financially dependent on them. Imagine if they were not financially dependent on them, if they know what exactly financial literacy is. um, I'm sure they can speak up for themselves, stand for themselves, and the kids can come out of the trauma of being their mother being beaten or all of it. So that's one of my goal, to be like that. And I would like to travel the world. I've traveled quite a bit, so I would like to travel the world. That's one thing, and that's interests me more. So reading books and telling people about what I do, and how to motivate themselves. So I think that's the. So what's the message for the world? So the message for the world that I would like to tell it to everybody is, we all can make a difference. As weak as we are, or tired as we are, or as many as mistakes as we are, so we all can make a difference. And to make that difference, we got to have a dream. And to have the dream, when you have a dream, so you got to have a goal. And when you have a goal, it's not like I just only have to have a goal. That goal should have a time frame. And with that, so that's it. So any dream can be achieved, because especially me, um, I wasn't even allowed to come out of the home, go out and everywhere. I could not even imagine that I'm going to be here and talk to you all. I did not even imagine I could speak English and converse with someone else. And here we go. I have that today because I kept reading the English newspaper. I want to speak English. I want to talk good. So here I'm talking. I never
Yeah,
thought I'm
we're running
going to.
out of time. Sorry to stop you in between. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have taken too much of your time. But thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. So that's the message for the
Thank you
world.
so much,
Thank you,
dear. Thank
everybody,
you
for
so much.
listening to me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Divya Shalini. I request all of you to give a standing ovation since it's our icebreaker speech, please.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased.
Now we have our next speaker, our immediate past president, Toastmaster Tina, who would be giving her L4P1 managed change. And her evaluator is Toastmaster Shiva. May I call upon Toastmaster Shiva to give the evaluation criteria, please, and also the timings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Seema. today I haven't yet reached my home. I'm still on the way. So sorry for the background appearance. I'm still in my car. But Toastmaster Tina, she is attempting her level 4 project 1 from dynamic leadership pathways. The purpose of her speech is a practice developing a change management plan and giving some part of change management plan to the audience. Time of this speech is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster Tina.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shiva. Toastmaster Tina, this is life. This is life. Toastmaster Tina, all the very best to you.
Change is the only constant in your life. Even if you're still, you are surrounded by change. The changing seasons, a change in your lifestyle, your food habits, your thought process, and maybe even your friends. And let's be honest, if you were to look at yourself in the mirror, I'm sure you'll notice a myriad of changes in your face, hair, body, and so on. Good evening, dear Toastmasters and my dear guests. Change is just a way of life. It's the only thing constant in one's life. One of the biggest changes in my life happened 10 years back when I birthed and became responsible for a small human. It was a great day, don't get me wrong. It was a happy day. But as English author Arnold Bennett quoted, any change, even a change for better, is accompanied by discomforts. On that day, I, an HR professional responsible for a 50-employee strong company, was now clueless as to how to go about this being that came with no instruction manual. I, once a well-composed and calm person, was now reduced to a boiling ball of hormones pacing up and down in front of the neonatal ICU, waiting for any news on the condition of my baby. We bring her home and we're stuck by the realization that life is never going to be the same. I hardly slept. I hardly ate. I never even went out of the house. If I was a superhero with the power of laser eyes, my husband would be now sporting around 2 searing holes on his back, as I would spend most nights staring at his back, sleeping soundly, while I was awake at all odd hours, providing nourishment to our hapless baby. Yes, my sleep routine had changed. Sleep when the baby sleeps, they advised. Well, let me ask these advisors. If I were to sleep, who would cook, clean, and launder? Just in case you didn't notice, I am no Queen of England with 1,000 servants at my beck and call. But the changes did not stop there. My once elegant and fashionable clutch that could house nothing more than probably a lip gloss and probably a safety pin was ousted by a ginormous baby bag that could hold even my whole house. My slender stilettos, out they go and were replaced by the practical flip-flops. Even my gait had changed. Instead of stomping around like a pack of rhinos, I was tiptoeing around like a svelte gazelle to avoid waking up the sleeping fussy baby. I was inept, disorganized, sleep deprived, and completely out of sorts. I was just looking for ways to alleviate the discomfort that I was in. But I was determined to overcome this small hurdle. After all, this is life. With a little help from my partner, I was able to organize and find solutions to manage this big change. The mornings were handled by him while I slept in with the baby. I tried to think positive and visualize a great future. And I decided that the future me wouldn't remember the mess, but would cherish the time I spend with my growing baby. I wouldn't remember the fancy meals that I tried to make, but I would definitely remember my child's smile as I fed her the mush that I made for her. So I decided to cut my losses and count my small blessings and celebrate the small wins. Her smiles, she achieving each milestone, and the time spent with my family. Soon, both she and I settled into a routine, and it even gave me time to catch up with my friends so that I can converse in a language other than baby talk. My biggest triumph came a year later, when my husband said, "Teens, you have changed." And as I stare at him with raised eyebrows, quick save, he jumps in and says, no, what I meant is, you're more patient, less angry, and not so stubborn. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was one of the biggest changes of my life. But passing through that crossroad helped me find myself, be true to myself, and learn to strike a balance. After all, this is life. Thank you. Over to you, Tia Modi.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tina. With this, may I call upon for the timer's report, please?
For the prepared speeches, one of the speakers had overshoot the time. Toastmaster Divya took 8 minutes and 49 seconds. Toastmaster Tina took 6 minutes and 46 seconds.
So, unfortunately, I think there won't be any polling for the best speaker this time. Nevertheless, applause to both the speakers.
With this, we have the much awaited segment of this evening. For this, may I call upon Toastmaster Amita to call our guest, invite our guest, and let's begin our education session with that. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster Amita.
Thank you, Seema. It's my honor to welcome Toastmaster Rajat Ray. Let's welcome him with an applause. He has been a Toastmaster for 6 years, 4 years in Muscat and 2 years in India. He has been the president of Ruvi Toastmasters Club, Muscat. He is also the District 105 runners-up in Evaluation Contest 2018 and Table Topic runner-up in 2019 contest. He is here with us to deliver an education session on how to overcome stage fright, which I believe is just so apt and at the right moment for all of us to alleviate the fears of stage and the newbies to venture into the Toastmasters journey with full confidence. Welcome, Toastmaster Rajat. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anita, now you have really given me a stage fright. Saying stage is yours. Yeah, I think it was Mark Twain who said once that man starts talking as soon as he's 1 year old and doesn't stop till he's put in front of a microphone. So I'm sure that all of us, sometime or the other in our life, have been subjected to this phenomenon, which is called stage fright. And that person who's peeping out from behind the curtain, many of you have been in that position, right? Yeah. Well, what we commonly call stage fright, we should understand actually what it is before we can make out how to deal with stage fright. Technically speaking, stage fright is basically performance anxiety, because wherever we are forced to perform somewhere, not necessarily on stage, even if we are playing a tennis match or just going to sing a song or give a speech, talk to somebody, wherever there's some performance involved, there is anxiety, because we want to make sure that we meet our goals properly, right? Let me give you some examples of performance anxiety situations, just to illustrate what I'm trying to say. Now, this is a one-on-one performance anxiety. When you're trying to propose to somebody, those of you who are married would have proposed. Those of you who are not yet married perhaps have proposed and are still working on it. But even in a one-on-one situation like this, there is performance anxiety. There could be performance anxiety where we are talking to a small group of people, maybe a couple of friends, maybe 2-3 customers to whom we are trying to sell. That's performance anxiety there. Or it may be a slightly bigger group. It could be a managers meeting, a board meeting, where we are sitting around and we may be needed to give an opinion to people. This could even be a friends gathering where somebody asks you, hey, what do you think? And you have to give an opinion. So performance anxiety kicks in and you don't know what to tell. Or it could be what we are very, very familiar with. Public speaking, one to many, what we keep doing in Toastmasters. Now, all of these have different levels of anxiety, of course. And let me ask you a question. Why don't you open your chat box and write A, B, C, or D, whichever you think causes you the highest amount of anxiety when you're trying to do this. Just open your chat box and type A, B, C, or D. Let's have 10 seconds. There's one A, lots of Ds, C and D. Group discussion, let's see. D, all right. Well, the majority seems to be sticking to public speaking. Nobody's worried about marriage proposals. That's very, very encouraging. Now, public speaking is something where stage fright comes into play the most. In fact, very paradoxically, public speaking, what we do in Toastmasters, is also a place where chances of material loss is the least. There's nothing really at stake here, except our sense of self-esteem. We are worried about what others will think of us or what we ourselves will think about ourselves if we don't do a good job. So we get a sense of dread, choking, rapid heartbeat. We are all familiar with this, right? When we want to get up and speak. Let us now focus on performance anxiety's phenomenon as it comes into public speaking, which is, I assure you, purely psychological. And being psychological, it's quite possible to deal with it. So how do we do that? Let's see. Now, when you get up to speak, try to recollect the first time you got up to speak, or even now when you get up to speak. Is there a scary thought running through your head? Something which holds you back, something which makes you sweat? What is that scary thought? Open your chat box and let's see it. What scares you when you think of speaking in public? Come on, just 1 or 2 words. How am I going to start? Okay. What else? Getting tongue-tied. Yes, that's a phenomenon. What if I go wrong? All right. Anything else? Okay. So there are 3 or 4 things which are your scary thoughts. Frankly, short of words, I used to have lots more scary thoughts than you guys are having. So that's good. Fear of being judged. Oh, thoughts are not flowing. Judgmental. Being judged. Great. So we have seen a variety of scary thoughts there. Now hold on to that. We'll come back to how to deal with these scary thoughts that you've talked about. Let me ask you one more question. This fear that we face when getting up to stand and speak, what do you think is the opposite of the fear of fear? What's the opposite? You can type in the chat box what you think is the opposite of fear. Is it courage? Confidence? Okay. Couple of answers says confidence, relaxed, right? Gait, fearlessness. That's English. Okay. So the opposite of fear, I used to think it was courage. It's not courage. To the extent that water is not the opposite of fire. In the sense, you use water to put out fire. You use courage to get over fear. But the absence of fear is, to my mind, is comfort. If you're comfortable in that situation, whatever situation we are talking about, you'll not be afraid, right? So how is it that we can be comfortable when speaking? That should be our goal. To get there, let me ask you one question again. Who are you most comfortable talking with? Who is it? Is it your husband or wife, or is it somebody else? Open your chat box and write. Who is it you're most comfortable talking with? Let's see. Mom, okay? Isolation means by yourself. Sibling and friends, right? To my own self, mother, friend. All right, so we got friends, we got relatives, we got our own self. I think we are all pretty similar in this respect. When I started speaking, I also went through this struggle of being afraid to get up and speak, and I had to find my own comfort zones. So these were mine, and they happen to be quite similar to what your comfort zones are. First was myself. I'd be most comfortable talking to myself, to the wall, to the mirror, to the diary, if I'm writing. Secondly, I was very comfortable talking to my children or other children, because one can give them any number of lectures and stories in their own mind, right? So children are a very good audience. And thirdly, I was very comfortable, like you are, talking to friends. So talking to myself, talking to children, talking to friends, that makes me comfortable. Now, we have seen 2 things. We have seen what makes us scared, and we have seen what makes us comfortable. Now let's see if we can put these things together and find out a formula by which we can be comfortable and get over all our fears. Let's become a little more systematic. And now I'm an engineer, so I love tables. So let's try to put it into a table and see how to rewrite the scary script. Now, what's a scary script? When we get up to speak, there is a thought running in our head, which I'm calling a script, a typical line. Any script is actually habitual, that as soon as we stand up to speak, certain words start flowing through our heads, right? So what we are going to do now in the next 5 minutes is to see what is the typical scary script which runs through our head, some of which we have already seen. What is the new thought we want our mind to think? What is the new script that we want to be written in our head as we stand up to speak, and how to get there from where we are, how to get the new script to start running and the scary script to stop running. This is what we're going to look at now. First scary script that I used to face. In fact, this is the initial and the biggest stone wall that I had to overcome personally, is that so many people are staring at me. Now just imagine in a normal day when you're speaking to people to get things done or sharing an experience, it's normally one-to-one. At the most, one pair of eyes are looking. But when we are in a meeting like this, especially in a physical meeting, there may be 20 pairs of eyes staring at us. And that is very, very unnerving. So many people staring. What is a new script that I wanted to write here, which is pretty radical, is to say they don't exist. Now, this is actually very, very strong re-scripting. And this we will do only if we can't stand the thought that there are people in front of us. They don't exist. I am imagining that I'm talking to myself. You know, the first person I'm comfortable with, myself or the wall, that's where I have to reach, that nobody exists in front of me. Now, if you're in this situation where you cannot really stand looking at people in front of you, I think what I used to do, you can try that. If you're in a physical meeting, look above them. Look at the wall. Eye contact be damned. That will come much later, and that's a very high-level thing. First of all, we should be able to open our mouth and speak. Don't look at them, look at the wall. If you are able to look at them, then there is one trick you can try. Don't look at their eyes. Eyes are very, very soul-searching. Look at their foreheads. That's what I used to do in the second stage. And when I'd scan the room, I'd look at their foreheads. They think I am looking at their eyes, but I know I am not looking at their eyes. That makes it less scary. So if you want to get rid of this terror that so many pairs of eyes are looking at me, don't look at them or look at their foreheads. I think you'll be able to manage this. Secondly, the scary script that used to come to me is that I am at their mercy. And they have been Toastmasters for a long time, expert speakers, maybe experts in their own fields, and they know much more than I do. Now, what do we do here? The script that I rewrote in my head is no, I am not at their mercy. They are at my mercy, and I know more than them. Now, this may be true, may not be true, doesn't matter. But you have to convince yourself of this, that they are at my mercy. They are like little children sitting in front of me. Remember, I am very comfortable with children. So I used to mentally shrink them out to 2 feet tall on their chairs. They're sitting there swinging their legs like kids. They are at my mercy. Whatever I say goes, right? Use a bit of imagination, think they're children, and I'm sure that this thought that I am at their mercy will reduce. And how do you do that? Well, in a physical meeting, I'd usually look around for 5 to 7 seconds before starting to speak. And in that period, I'll imagine them to be children. Secondly, what really helps is smile. In those 5 to 7 seconds, smile at all of them. That gives you a feeling of superiority, as if you know more than them. You're in control. That confidence comes inside that smile. Artificial, fake it till you make it. Just smile. Look around. Imagine they're children, and you'll feel totally confident. The third scary script which I used to get is they are ready to criticize me and laugh at me. That is their goal in their life, that as soon as they finish speaking, or even while I'm speaking, they're going to talk to each other, what is this guy saying? Or they're going to outright laugh at me. Now, why do I think this? You know for a fact that in a Toastmaster meeting, people are not there to criticize you. They're in fact there to encourage you. It's one of those rare places. I cannot commit the same thing about your work environment. If you're giving a presentation, that everybody is there who's sitting in a friendly frame of mind, not going to criticize you, may not happen. However, we have to get over this thought. How do I get over this thought? Is imagine, even if they are not, imagine they are my friends. You know the third comfort zone, friends? Imagine that all your colleagues, all your boss sitting there twiddling his Parker is your friend. Now, when we imagine they are our friends, our temperature automatically goes down and our nervousness disappears. They're not here to laugh at me. Just the fact that they're sitting with serious faces doesn't mean they're angry at me, doesn't mean they're bored. It just means they are taking me seriously. That's all. So imagine they're all friends. If it's a physical meeting, it's a good idea to interact a bit before that, so that even in an online meeting, we can do that, so that the feeling that they're my friends increases. And secondly, it's always a good idea to look at a few smilers. You know, there are always 2-3 people who always smile at the speakers. They're very good people and very useful to nervous speakers. Now, what I suggest to you is to lock on to them. Forget the other 17 people, lock on to these 3. Look at them and deliver your speech. So when you see smiling faces nodding at whatever you're saying, confidence level goes up enormously. Fourth, they will get bored. They will get bored is a very, very real fear, because we really are not confident how good our speeches are. Now, what is the new script we have to write? Very simple. Is that I have interesting things to tell. What's the problem in imagining that? We just heard 2 speeches, didn't we? An icebreaker and another project speech. And whatever nervousness they may have had about their speeches, didn't we find it interesting? They were. Same confidence you have in yourself that I have interesting things to tell. And in order to bolster that confidence, if it's a prepared speak, for God's sake, have interesting things to tell. Put in some personal stories there. That's what personal stories are for, to make your speeches interesting. As soon as you put them there, you have interesting things to tell. They will never, never get bored. Put interesting stories, preferably at the start. Prepared speeches, 100%. Even in your extempore speeches, table topics, if you can put them in, nothing like it. But I assure you, mostly they are not bored. Unless you see them really looking down at their phone all the time, that fellow is not bored. My second advice to you is, if there are 20 people and only 3 of them are not bored with you, they are worth speaking to. Your speech is meant for those 3. Forget the other 17. So have interesting things, have that confidence. Even if you see they're getting bored, imagine that there are 2-3 people there who love your speech. Keep going. And lastly, real fear, and it happens also with us a lot of times, that I might forget. Let me get it out as quickly as possible. I had this trouble, that right now, whatever speed I'm speaking at, I used to speak much faster. Because one is, I thought that if I slow down, if I give pauses, I might forget the connection between the first paragraph and the next paragraph. And secondly, if I don't speak fast, if I speak too slowly, they may get bored also, the fourth problem. Now, there is a way to deal with this, of course, very obvious ways. One is, why should you forget? If you're giving a prepared speech and you've prepared it well, you've practiced it 6-7 times, you've memorized 80% of the speech, you know your subject fully, why should you forget? The thing which makes you forget most easily is when you are afraid that you might forget. As soon as that fear comes, our memory weakens. We start losing track. So just know the subject fully and have the pleasure in your mind of delivering. Once I had written an article that how much giving a speech is like eating a chocolate. How do you eat a chocolate? You savor it while you're eating, right? You don't gulp it down. Similarly, if you've taken the trouble to prepare a speech so well, you should enjoy delivering this speech. You should enjoy the meaning of the sentences as they go out, right? You should give pauses in between to let people absorb what you're saying. So the tool which I suggest is prepare thoroughly and speak slowly with pauses, which will enable you to enjoy the speech and which will enable audience to absorb every bit of what you're saying and enjoy it along with you. That, in a summary, is what a bit of my journey in front of you, and also my suggestions to you as to how to deal with these most typical problems. I'd like to end with a final advice to you, especially to newcomers who are starting on their path of speaking. This I had worked in with a Toyota dealership, and I was really amazed that Akio Toyoda, who was the founder and who was a big follower of total quality management, had this as a quotation given to most of his employees. And that was, ensure quantity, quality will follow. Now we relate Toyota with quality, and our thought is, till the thing is perfect, we should not give it out. He said, no, that way nothing will come out. So start producing, quality will follow. So in a similar vein, my advice to you is start speaking. Good speeches will follow. Back to you, Amita. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajat. Beautiful session, insightful, informative, and I'm sure it will alleviate the fears of many here. It has done wonders to me. Thank you so much. Toastmaster Seema, you can take over.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amita. And thank you so much, Toastmaster Rajat. This was an extremely wonderful and informative session. And I'm sure I will definitely use all the techniques that you have shared to alleviate my fears. I still have a lot of fears when I talk, and I will definitely use it. Thank you so much once again. With this, let's move on to our next segment, that is our table topic session. And I once again call upon our dear President Toastmaster Amita to conduct the session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster Amita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Seema. Yes, this is the table topic session actually now, but I see that we are running a little late. So what I will do is, instead of having the proper table topic session, we can have a 1 minute speech session. In this, we can have the speaker speaking exactly for 1 minute, and the Zoom master will mute the speaker as soon as the timer shows the red card at 1 minute. This is the rule, and of course, we need to applaud for each speaker. You may raise your hand for me to pick you up voluntarily, or otherwise I can pick up anyone to speak. So ready for it? Okay, come on. Any volunteers? Who will be the first one? Who is the first daredevil to go?
I can go for it.
Okay, Toastmaster Anil.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
My video is not that up to the mark.
That's okay.
Please excuse. Yeah.
Okay, so your topic is, what does happiness mean to you? What does happiness mean to you? Toastmaster Anil. Timer, you can time for 1 minute.
In alignment with this theme of Ho'oponopono, I always believe in giving is the essence of happiness, because you get so many things in a day and during your journey. And if you do not want to share it, and if you cannot keep it with others, there is no fun of learning something or getting something. So whatever you're learning, earning, taking, it is always better to give to some share of it to people, so that you feel that happiness of giving. That is why people say, right? Sharing is caring, or caring is sharing. I see it in both ways, because it goes hand in hand. The real purpose of happiness for me is always giving. If I learned something, I want to teach people. It is not that I'm an expert. but I believe that teaching is the best way to learn something more. So again, this is a way of giving back. That is where I'm getting the essence of that happiness and little more gaining of knowledge, everything. So that is my mantra. Over to you.
Great. Good thoughts. Okay, next. Mihir, would you like to go ahead? Can I call upon Mihir?
Yes, ma'am. So the topic remains the same?
No, I'll give you it.
Oh.
Your most embarrassing moment as a student. Your most embarrassing moment as a student. It could be school or college.
So I'll start with my most embarrassing moment in school. So it was the moment of pre-boards in 10th grade. So we all had our exams, the preparation exams for the boards, and I was not very good at math, and as expected, I was quite reluctant about my exam results, and the results were out, and the teacher had me come over in front of the class and told that your results are not up to the mark, and you'll have to work on your practice more well and all. And then he also called up my mother and told her that he'll have to work on the math part of the things. So, well, it went well after that. The exams went well because I had to practice. Otherwise, there was no way out. Thank you.
Great. Sure, you must have aced maths by now because I know you're doing a CA now. Okay. Anybody else? Toastmaster Sheetal. Toastmaster Deepansh. Yes. David Deepansh. Yes, you can line up. So I'll call upon Deepansh. Okay. If you could time travel, where would you go and why?
Well, if I could time travel, I would go back to my past. I would go back to my past where I was in grade 3, and that was a very great experience for me. In fact, when I was in grade 3, I studied in Chettinad Vidyashram, which was in Chennai, and it was a very great school. It had a swimming pool, a horse riding course, and the timetable was very systematic. The way they taught was very systematic. In fact, what used to happen was we used to get revisions for mock tests also, and we used to get extra notes. So they were basically spoon feeding us. So yeah, that was one very nice year.
Great.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Nice to know that. All right, Toastmaster David, go for it. Yeah, knowing that your brother has left for to join the university, I would like to ask you how important you feel it is to have a sibling around while growing up.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anita, for that lovely topic. So I would say, since my brother has left, and it's been nearly, 19 years since he left home, I would say, like since we've been apart. And definitely, I would say the most important thing of having a sibling at home is it definitely elevates the stress of the house, because you are each other's support, you are each other's backbone, you are each other's go-to person on the planet. And the past month, he's been gone for 1 month, and I have realized that I actually do miss him way more than I actually should have. I thought originally. Originally, I thought I have the whole room to myself. Yay! I have all the food to myself. Yay! I don't have to share any more of my goodies anymore. Yay! But I actually think because we grew up together for so long and we were a part of each other's lives for, like I said, 19 years. He's 19, that's why. You kind of realize, I don't mind sharing. I don't mind the room being full, and I really do understand the importance of togetherness and being a part of one another's lives. So thank you. That is my
Great. Yes, siblings are the best friends. Okay, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Sheetal. Would you like to attempt? This will be
Yes,
our last
Amita.
speaker. Yeah. If your world can be just one color, what would it be and why?
White.
If your
Because
world
I love
can
white
be just
and
one color, what would it be and why?
so the color that I would go for is white without any doubt in mind. Because I think it just makes you feel good, peace, and matches with any other color. It just blends with any other color.
Okay, you could go on for a few more seconds.
So why white? Because I think it's just the color of peace, and it's my favorite color. So I guess I would want everything around me to be white in color.
Great. Thank you so much, all the speakers. It was wonderful listening to the 1-minute speeches. Kudos to you all. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amita. Wonderful selection of topics, and I'm glad you did not pick me up. Thanks for that. Moving on, may I call upon Toastmaster Sridevi to give us the timers report?
Could you call out again, Seema?
Toastmaster Sridevi, can we have the timers report, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
The timers report. Toastmaster Anil took 1 minute and 9 seconds. Toastmaster Mihir took 58 seconds. Toastmaster Deepansh took 43 seconds. Toastmaster David took 1 minute. Toastmaster Sheetal took 43 seconds.
Okay. So let's all have a poll.
The poll can happen, Amita. You can continue.
Okay.
Or
Meantime, we
Seema.
can continue, Seema.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amita and Toastmaster Sridevi. With this, let's move on to our evaluation. Let me call upon DTM Anita for the evaluation of Toastmaster Divya Shalini. Over to you, DTM Anita.
Toastmaster Sham will be doing the evaluation segment and the grammarian and account.
Okay, so would he be doing it right now or in the end, along with the general evaluation?
No, he will be conducting the entire evaluation segment.
Okay.
And the grammarian and the accountant also. Okay.
Okay. All right.
You have to call him, Seema.
Yes, sure.
I can come without
Toastmaster
invitation.
Shyam Prasad, thank you so much for coming here to our Showstoppers Club. I request you to give us the evaluation report for Toastmaster Divya Shalini, please.
My dear showstoppers, I'm only a facilitator for an evaluation segment. So me as a general evaluation, I'll go through the whole meeting, but before, it's not only me, my team, my crew is with me, and they will be supporting me to go through the evaluation segment, not only the project speeches, the remaining parts like grammarian and R counter, these things. So let's begin with our evaluation first. Our first speaker, Toastmaster Divya Shalini. To evaluate her, we have one beautiful lady. For me, one of the finest speakers that I have seen in Toastmasters fraternity. She's truly lived by principles of Toastmasters: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. I have known her for the last 18 months only, have witnessed a relentless service for Toastmasters. She is humble, yet she won't spare anyone if something doesn't go well. Be careful, be mindful, and very articulative. She became a DTM in 21. So she's none other than DTM Anita Naidu. Stage is yours. Please come forward, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sham. I don't know, half of it is not right. I will not. I will deny that. Anyways, thank you so much. Feel privileged. Let me now move on to the role. Toastmaster Divya, where are you? Can I have you on the video? If possible, please do come. Toastmaster Divya, The Wings Within. Wonderful title. The title itself shows a lot of optimism and so much power. To move on, you have done your icebreaker speech today, and the purpose of this project is for you to introduce yourself to the club, and for us to know, to learn the basics, and also to learn the basic structure of public speech. So I think today, with the hints and with the clues, the cues that have been given to you, you did live up. I must say about 80% to 90% of whatever is expected from your speech today. Now, did I know you? Did the club know you? Well, I think I have got to know you a lot today. I have seen you today, though I have spoken to you before. I have understood that you are a very powerful person, majorly because you are a scorpion, an ambitious achiever. We have our TMOD also who is a scorpion today. It's irrelevant, but yes, you can always correlate. And what I understood about your parents, did you say anything about them? Yes, I understood that you are an offspring of a very powerful couple, and a couple who could go in for a matrimony binding at a very, very tender age. That calls for a lot of challenge in today's world. And you spoke about your mom as a very strong woman who inspires you. I'm sorry to hear that you lost your inspiration to COVID recently, and I can understand the feeling. Um, Moving on, yes. Apart from that, you said that your only hobby is reading. But then I got to see that your hobbies never ended. It started with reading and you went on to quote about your favorite authors. I have made a note because I am going to go and dig into it. I am also I'm very interested into finance and investing in finance. And I'm happy that we have a guide here. Big shout out to all the Toastmasters and Showstoppers. We have a financial guide, an investor here. So we're going to use her for education sessions here on, to all the women especially. Goals and inspirations, you talked about how you want to fulfill your dream, which is to be financially free as a woman and to make people around you, the women around you, also financially independent by giving them the right kind of education. I think I go with that. I also believe in empowering women and bringing out the best in each of them. Now, this is an icebreaker speech, Divya. I love the speech. I got to understand a lot about you. Nevertheless, I wouldn't say there's room for improvement in every speech, but yes, what I would have loved to hear more is a little about your children, a little about your marriage, a little about your career, and why are you here in Toastmasters when you're such a bold speaker, right? So I would love to know more about those things. I thought there was a lot of repetition that happened in the end, which could have been used. And then the timings that you went overboard, the timing as well over there. So I think these small things, just the beginning, this is, you will be doing your second speech where you can talk on any other topic. Maybe you have to, look into getting a little more mentored, giving yourself some more time. But I definitely applaud I think the way you've gone about with your icebreaker speech, totally commendable. You hardly are a Toastmaster and you've proved that you're a hard Toastmaster. So I think you are going to be a tough nut to crack, and we're glad to have you on board. Thank you so much. And over to you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator Toastmaster Sham.
Thank you, DTM Anita. As I think very aptly done. Only from my side, only one suggestion, to Toastmaster Divya. I think she can challenge herself. Is like, she can bring all elements in a story form because she's a very articulative and she could definitely do it in a story form that could elevate her speech. And of course, time management is very well. We have to manage within the time. That's very, very important. Thank you, DTM Anita. And now to move on, the another evaluator who will be evaluating our Toastmaster Tina Satish, IPP. He is an international tax supervisor and working for an external company. He's been a Toastmaster for 4 years. In one of the meetings, he being the TMOD, he presented a theme called How to Search New Ways or Breakthroughs in Professional and Private Life. Trust me, he brought up that concept called sort, match, hybridize, adapt. This is something it became my mantra. Especially it helped me in my professional life. This is one of the best sessions that I have ever witnessed in Toastmasters. So he is none other than Toastmaster Shiva Mamidi. Let's welcome Toastmaster Shiva Mamidi. Virtual stage is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sam. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and a special good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Tina Satish. Toastmasters, if you look at the leadership, if you look at the whole world, the only constant is change. We look at companies that go bankrupt because they don't change. If you don't change, we die. So for that, everything we don't change, we die. Today, Toastmaster Tina Satish, she took a concept from her real life situation, how she faced change when a newly born baby come to her home, what sort of changes she has undergone with that newly born baby. She explained the changes, even the minor changes such as bags, how to replace, and her food habits, even the slippers, everything has to undergo a change. And also some difficult situations when she has to handle the baby and she is not getting the cooperation from her family, especially from her husband. The way she explained, I could correlate myself. When we had a newly born baby at our home, it's not only my wife who looked at me seriously, but also her mother was also here at that time. So I had to face two women fierce looking at me. I could completely correlate that one today. And I really felt your really strong points are your exceptional body language and the powerful tone that you got. These two are your exceptional advantages, Toastmaster Tina. And in terms of that micronutrients, that what we can add to any speech, to a great speech, there will be some micronutrients. When I look at the speech objectives, your speech objectives indicate that develop a change management plan and to share some aspect of change management plan. Today, about all the details that you described, I can correlate that you explained exceptionally well about a change in your management plan. But in terms of that change management plan, I thought maybe you could have chosen one of the change management plans, maybe a simple one called given by Kurt Lewin, unfreezing, change process, refreezing. Because whatever you have already explained, if you could have finally mentioned that this is my change management plan, finally I could come out with a good change, that could have been really wonderful. To put your whatever you mentioned in your speech into that category of change management plan, the unfreezing situation is how you started your career and how you are happily having life with your family. That's your first situation. Then change process is when you have the baby in your life, how that changed and the difficult situations that you are undergoing without having proper support. And then rephrasing is you exceptionally explained your situations to your husband, your family, and then they started giving you the support. Then after they give you the support, your life has become normal. So unfreezing, change process, and refreezing. Refreezing happens once everyone starts supporting to you, your life will become normal. And I believe that's the only thing, if you could have explained at the end, that's the change management plan, and I succeeded, the speech would have become, with that micronutrient, more exceptional. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shiva. I think you've said it very correctly and very constructive feedback, if you ask me. Even I felt that from the purpose perspective. So although the speaker is really comfortable and the greatest, the asset is like, she was giving a very dramatic and then giving the pauses. That's beautifully executed. And from the perspective or the purpose perspective, she could have, let's say, emphasize more on the change management plan. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to the grammarian part. To give this grammarian report, we have one
timer report.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, thank you very much, DTM Marita. May I request Toastmaster Sridevi to give us the timer report?
Thank you, sir. The timer report for evaluations. Toastmaster Anita took 3 minutes and Toastmaster Shiva took 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
So both are qualified.
Yes.
And you can launch a poll, Toastmaster Sridevi. In the meantime, can we proceed to
Yes,
grammarian?
you can proceed. We will launch the polls.
Thank you. So to provide a grammarian or grammarian report, we have one gentleman, a very smiley gentleman, I would say. He's a second-year student at Westford University and also VP membership of the Toastmasters Club. I don't know which Toastmasters Club. I thought it is the current one. He runs podcast called We Impact, and he loves sports. Manchester City and AC Milan are his favorite teams. So if any one of you wants to talk about football, he is the right person to look for. Okay, so he is none other than Toastmaster David. Toastmaster David, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Sam. And it's VP membership of Westwood's Toastmaster University. I'm sorry for not mentioning that earlier. So this is my first time doing a grammarian report. Thank you, Toastmaster Amita, for giving me this opportunity. Good to spread your branches over here. So the word of the day was alleviate. Very nice word. And Toastmaster Sheetal, it's a good word you use and something that we can use in our day-to-day lives consistently. And so my report will see how many times we've used that in the meeting itself and how the speakers presented themselves. So our first speaker was Toastmaster Divya Shalini. She had a lot of positive words. It was an amazing speech. Like, it was very easy to understand. It was straightforward. And she spoke words like diligently, the concept of family, and it was easy to understand. The terminology was pretty straightforward. There were phases, where she could have branched out. Like, we understood that the word and was repeated quite often. To move on to the next point, and it was written and. We Toastmaster Divya, we could have moved on to maybe the next part or furthermore or the next stage. Instead of and felt kind of repetitive. So you could have replaced that with a different word. And you get to see much of the word alleviate in your speech. That's something we can improve upon over here. Moving forward with Toastmaster Tina Satish for her speech. That was an amazing speech. It was very easy to understand, and the words she used, the vocabulary she used was efficient for a Toastmaster of her standard, of her level. Like, we could have used the words searing, beck and call, elegant and fashionable, slender silhouettes to describe the heel. Like, I wasn't quite aware we could use that synonym over there. Slender silhouette. That's a very, very commendable use of words. And she did use the word alleviate. So some big clap for that. Cut my loss. And I think my most memorable quote she uses, cut my losses, celebrate my wins. That was a great, great sentence used over there. Now, evaluator, Toastmaster Anita, DTM Toastmaster had good vocabulary. She used a lot of empowering words to describe Toastmaster Divya's speech, such as love, great, bold, and that summarized Toastmaster Divya's icebreaker speech. It was really, really commendable. And my most memorable quote is the tough nut to crack, tough nut to crack analogy. Best phrase. The Toastmaster Siva, his evaluation could correlate. He used words like correlate, expression, advantage. That was what you can describe Toastmaster Tina's teacher's speeches. And words like micronutrients, that was a great, great use of use of vocabulary over there. And it was easy to understand. So that concludes my time with Jennifer Mayer, but I'm not sure if this is fair, but that's over to you, General Evaluator Singh.
Very well done, Toastmaster David, and let's give him a big round of applause. Yeah, he deserves it. Thank you. So we'll move on to our counter. Yeah, I see already 4 times. So to provide this report, we have one Toastmaster. He has just joined Toastmasters. He has completed a master's in international business from Hult University, Hult International Business School. He's been working in a shipping company, or ship management company here in Dubai since 2019. So let's welcome Toastmaster Deepansh to provide a counter. Toastmaster Deepansh, stage is yours.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So the job of an counter is to note down the most overused words and also the filler words, which are known as the crutch words. These are generally spoken by the speakers, and some of the common ones are and, well, but, so, and some common sounds are and So starting off with the counter now, we would the first Miss Amita. Miss Amita had one in her speech. Miss Sridevi had one and one repeated word. Miss Seema, the Toastmaster, had 2 R's and 1 but. Miss Cheetal had 4 R's and 1 Miss Anita had 6 R's and 3 ums. Miss Divya, the icebreaker, she had 4 R's, 8 ums, and she repeated the word and a few times. Miss Tina had 2 R's. Mr. Rajat had no crutch words. Mr. Siva had no crutch words. Mr. David had 2 R's and 3 so's. And Mr. Sam had no crutch words.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepansh, and an excellent job done. Highly appreciated. Only one, suggestion for you is, here in Toastmasters, we're all equal. And there is no Mr. and Miss. Yeah, we are Toastmasters. Yeah. Even if 100+ years old gentleman come on board, you can call him as a Toastmaster, the name. Here, there is no hierarchy, so you can freely call them as a Toastmasters. Yes, so feel free. So no Mr. and Miss. Thank you very much. Good job. Very well done. Right, now it's my turn, yeah? If you ask me this meeting, if I want to describe this meeting in, let's say, few words or few simple ways, a meeting filled with a joy, a superb takeaways to handle, let's say, be in a positive state of mind, and how to, let's say, overcome stage fright. You see, right? This is a simple way I can say it. In terms of the way meeting conducted, I would say very clearly executed as per the plan and we are on, of course, still on time, I assume. Yes, we are on time, and very, very, very happy, especially the newbies have really, thanks to all of you, and really congratulations to everyone coming forward and taking the roles. This really, that shows that, the showstoppers can never stop, they non-stop power, I call it as a non-stop power. So you guys are really non-stop power. Yeah. So let's get into the nitty-gritties of the meeting. So I'll not bore you guys. SAA, only 2 votes. DTM Anita, as I've said, finest speaker. She can take up any role, anytime, any moment. Precise and clarified the rules very well. Toastmasters promises is something is a very interesting, and which every one of us should memorize the Toastmaster promises and practice them. So, and also emphasizing and a feedback is also very, very a good job done by DTM Anita. Thank you very much. And the next lovely lady with a child, small, charming energy, displayed by our president, Toastmaster Amita. I think a very nice way of is that what I felt was a persuasive approach of encouraging everyone or giving that gentle push to the newbies. That was really an excellent job done overall. Yeah. Only an improvement, if you could ask me, is hand over to TM Modi, for example, and she came with an excellent topic or excellent theme, and she deserves a little bit of her introduction instead of just calling her as Toastmaster Seema, come here and take over. Yeah. So please let us also emphasize that particular one. We are here to cherish each other's, let's say, success, and then we want to hear that positive. Yeah. So let's focus on that aspect as well. And our Toastmaster, Sridevi, she came as a secretary, Manus read, and what was really touched me is that the language that she used, a very descriptive language, vivid, and I could really go through, even though I did not attend, but I could feel it, the last meeting, every moment. And in a precise way, she had done an excellent job. Very happy to see Toastmaster Sridevi again. She's a newbie, but done an excellent job. Very, very well done. Yeah. And Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Seema. Just I'm a bit confused. The theme of the day is the magic mantra or Ho'oponopono. What is that?
The magic mantra itself is the Ho'oponopono.
Okay, good. To make things right, to bring that, I think the theme is really had that, what is that, pumped up, or you also pumped up with an energy, and also you displayed with your own personal experience or anecdotes, and that had elevated your, let's say, the theme, and that's also gives an authenticity to the all the let's say audience, that by practicing this you could definitely elevate from whatever the challenges that you may face, or you can change your status immediately. That's superbly executed in terms of taking through the what I can say is the theme of the day. Very happy for you. Again, a suggestion for you is introduction to role players could be little more elevated. That adds the really a spice, I would say. And also one more thing that we may have to highlight is that, especially when the speakers are called, remind them to ping timers. Of course, Zoom Master did that, but it's best as a TM body, we remind them. And also we are approaching the contest season. It's best to check their audio, video, just make sure that everything is fine. Yeah, that's the only two suggestions. And word of the day, Toastmaster Sheetal, elevate, and she's a new member, and she had done a fabulous job in terms of the presenting the word. Although there were some technical glitches, she also admitted that she is not really used to the Zoom meeting. Maybe this could be avoided by making sure that we do that. Let's say, what is the right word? I'm not getting. Maybe we do the dry run kind of it before the meeting begins, so that we could avoid the technical glitches at that time. And moving on, the induction, DTM Anita, 8 new members. Wow, really? Smedley, got the Smedley already? Very happy. One word is graciously conducted, and they all deserve this, and she deserves a big round of applause. Speaker 1 and 2, I think evaluated, and also I clarified my own my impression also, so I don't want to repeat on this. And the other one, education session by Toastmaster Rajat Ray. It's not in a conventional way he presented. So he first defined it. What is that? That we call it as stage fright, as a performance anxiety, and then what it makes and what we want, that comfort. And he also gave the formula of rewriting the scary script. This was really, and not in a conventional way, very well executed. And if I may have to give one more tip for, let's say, newbies, which has really worked well for me, is whenever I'm called on stage, I take deep breath, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. Like you inhale for 10 seconds and you exhale maybe at 12 seconds. It's not a 12, but whatever, little more than inhalation. If you do that, the entire neuro system will come to little balance. So it has really helped me. So maybe it's a tip from my side. You could also adapt this or add to yourself. And moving on, then table topics. I don't know. I'm having a right agenda. In the agenda that I received, table topics was not part of it. But anyway, nonetheless, Toastmaster, our president, Amita, had done an excellent job of picking up the newbies, as well as the Toastmaster Anil, Toastmaster Meher, Deepansh, Toastmaster David, Sheetal. I think topics were very apt, and everybody tried their best to address it. Only one suggestion to all the speakers, especially newbies. One of the methods, there are different ways of approaching table topics. One of the methods is, if there is a question to you, if you answer it, and it's going to be a one line or one word, that's, then you still have another 50 more seconds to talk. It's always best that you bring a story, you substantiate with a particular anecdote or an example, and then come to a conclusion why you like. For example, Toastmaster Sheetal, she said, like, if your world can be one color, what would it be and why?
Master Sham, we're running short of time.
Yes, I'm coming last. So
yeah,
that's the only one that's you, instead of just answering it, you better bring some story and then come to a conclusion. So now that brings me to the last, is the Zoom master and timer. She had done an excellent job. Again, though she's a newbie, she has done an excellent job. Small glitches is especially during spotlighting. She got confused with so many speakers that could be avoided. so that the speaker doesn't distract. That's very important. Overall, as I said, a meeting filled with joy and many takeaways, and very happy to see Showstoppers is really going non-stop. Thank you, and over to TMOD, Toastmaster Seema. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sham, for the detailed evaluation report. Yes, I will definitely keep in mind. And yes, I missed to even introduce you and apologize on that. There are a lot of errors. It's after a small gap that I have come back. So apologies on that. Since we are running short of time, I'm not taking much time of us. I'm handing over the stage to our president once again. Toastmaster Amita, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Seema. Indeed, a very, very informative and stimulating evening we have had with Toastmaster Rajat Ray and Toastmaster Shyam, giving us a real good feedback. I'm muted, sorry. It was indeed a very informative and stimulating evening, with Toastmaster Rajat giving us an education session and Toastmaster Shyam giving us a very, very stimulating feedback for our club, which will really be helpful. Thank you for that, Toastmaster Shyam. I have a token of appreciation for Toastmaster Rajat, though he has left the meeting nevertheless. And soon the results. Thank you, Toastmaster Shyam, for being the general evaluator. And the poll results are: best table topic speaker goes to Toastmaster David. Congratulations. Goes to Anita Naidu, DTM. And unfortunately, we could not have the poll for the best speaker, but nevertheless, applaud for both the speaker. So with all this, I'll stop sharing. So I would say that this was a wonderful evening, time well spent. Thank you, each one of you, for displaying your roles so well, though they were the maiden roles and we had the veterans with us. Thank you all. I declare the meeting number 45 closed. Nevertheless, I would really request our guest on board to give us a few words. We all would like to listen a few words of appreciation and feedback from the guests. Is Toastmaster Anil still with us? Okay, he has left. Okay, anybody? Toastmaster Sheetal, Toastmaster Divya. Would you like to come on board and say a few words?
Hello all, it was wonderful to be a part of this. I never expected it's going to be such a constructive feedback and empowerment, or someone encouraging you, talking from your timer up until the grammar that you use. I'm really impressed, I have to say. I'm really delighted to be a part of it, and I hope that I continue to learn much as I'm expecting more than this. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Divya. Yes, even we are looking forward to have you amongst us. Anybody else? Vansh, Mihir, David, Sheetal, Shiva. Yes, go ahead.
Just one Toastmaster meeting. This was like, it kind of feel, this is like my third Showstoppers meeting. This is the first one I've been part of like as a member. And I feel like this is like a very good decision to be part of, because like I know for a fact this will just elevate what might be speaking capabilities as a Toastmaster in my career. Like I know for a fact once this term is done, I guess, like this 8 months period, the Toastmaster was then like for 2021 and 2022 will be 2-3 totally different people over there when it comes to that. And so It was very, very well done.
Anybody else who would like to take the stage?
Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
Toshmaster Amitabh. Actually, today I was driving, but I was so glued to the topic because the topic of table Toastmaster of the day was so interesting. Because the three things that she explained that were really awesome, actually, how to incorporate all those things that really glued me. Despite the fact I was driving, I kept hearing to that one. And the quality of the speeches, everything, the quality of the speakers, the way they described all the speeches, that they were really fantastic. And I would say overall, this is really a highly structured and each and everything went on timely manner. Very well done, Toshmaster Amitabh and team.
To hear, and that's so encouraging. Thank you. I think we all can leave the meeting now and call it off.
Could I just take a picture first,
Thank
guys?
you.
Yes, yes, sure.
Just one picture. Just getting lighting correct. No. One word. All right, 3.
Divya, Sheetal, would you like to switch on your cameras for a quick pic?
Quick photo.
Sure, why not?
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, everyone, for that.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
all.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good night.
You.
Bye.
Good night.
You need to mentor. अच्छा इसको 1 second, 1 second. Stop the live ma. Not able to stop it.
Last time it had stopped by itself.
नहीं अभी तो on the top left. No?